Releasing in cinemas is a film called My Melbourne, which comprises four really interesting short stories, Indian-based and other cultures, inspired by true events. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the producer, or one of the producers, certainly executive producer of My Melbourne, Mitu Bhowmick Lange. Mitu, welcome again to Movie Metropolis.
Yes, thank you, Peter. It's nice to speak to you outside the festival. So thank you.
Tell me about the inspiration or how My Melbourne came about.
So I think the inspiration for My Melbourne came about through our film festival because we do a short film competition at the festival. And a lot of times I would see these really brilliant winners, but they would just not be pursuing filmmaking or doing something else or feeling a bit jaded. And one of the common complaints was that they were not able to get any interest in the kind of stories that they wanted to tell because that would not resonate or connect with a lot, sometimes the screen agencies, sometimes producers, and so on. So that was at the root of how My Melbourne came about, because I was talking with my friend Onir, who had been a judge on the short film competition. And I said it would be nice if we could do something like where we create a story without any filters, in the most authentic, honest possible way, like our stories, the way we want to tell it, but mentored and empowered by some of the most respected filmmakers from India. So Anil was like, I'm in, let's do this. And so that small idea just took a life of its own and became really big. And our festival, as you know, Peter, has always been about celebrating diversity, inclusivity, not just in filmmaking, but also in the stories we tell, in a basic organic screen culture, the ecosystem of our screen culture. And so, and then Onir came, and then I spoke to Imtiaz, who's also a childhood friend of mine. And I was just telling him about this incident that happened, how we have this homeless lady just below our building, and she shouted at one of our interns. Actually, it was not even to the intern, it was just in her general direction. But that intern came up and cried the whole day. And I found that very interesting because when I asked her that we also have homeless and beggars in India, um, so why? I mean, I know you're a bit you found it a bit confronting, but it's okay, you know. When she was like, "Yeah, but we don't have to deal with them," and I found that a very interesting thing. And when I was narrating it to Imtiaz, Imtiaz said that he found that also very interesting because he was like, "No two people are more different, and yet they both have this big common thing that they both are displaced. So let's explore that." And that's how that story came about. And then the story of race was, of course, beautiful Sitara, who I just met at one of the events. And it was just so inspiring. And when Kabir heard of it, he was like, that's our story. And the disability story of Emma, that is actually based on the writer Samira, her own lived experience, her own life, because Samira used to live with Samira lives with Usher syndrome, where you're profoundly deaf and you have cognitive issues because you slowly start losing your vision. And since her childhood, all she wanted to do was be a dancer, you know. So that's how that story came. And it's a very, very small Australian indie film, but we've tried to make it with all the honesty that we have.
Yes, no, well done on that. And the other story, of course, is Nandini about a gay couple and
Yes,
the Indian father, and of course, not necessarily accepting
yes.
the son's lifestyle. And yeah, so how much support did you give the writers and directors of each of those four films, and give them time to explore their stories and then film them?
So we had once we decided we were going to do it, we did a call out, and I was like, you know, it's like I was very optimistic that okay, we'll have the film out by 2021, because we did the call out in 2020, and we got like it was an expression of interest for concepts, and we got lots and lots of concepts, not just from Australia, from all over the world, because if these four directors are so iconic, people were like, we'll fly down from Holland, we'll fly down from India, and so on. But then, of course, we had COVID. But what that allowed us to do is explore all the stories. We kept narrowing it down to smaller teams, and finally, the four directors in India selected two concepts each, which we fleshed out as to a full script. And then they selected one script, and then they put their script supervisor to work with the Australian writing team here to flesh out the stories further so that it could be very cinematic, shot within the 5 days per story, within a limited budget. So that was a really good, realistic, practical experience for all the emerging writers here. And then, of course, because the directors are also so busy, we kind of had to work around their availability. And then once they were free, they came down. Onir and Rima, we shot their film early 2022 or 23. Kabir and Imtiaz, we shot their film last year, and then we premiered the film at our festival in August, and now it's releasing on 6th of March.
Oh, excellent. What a interesting process. And I'm also quite intrigued as to the order of the stories and the editing process so that they all fit into a roughly a 30-minute per story process.
Yes, you know the order. The good thing about this whole feature film is that all four of them have very distinct, different styles. Rima and Onir are more from the indie film school, and they're more from a very the complete independent film style. Imtiaz Ali and Kabir are more from the commercial Hindi film school, but they all have their own very distinct style, and I think that makes the film even more special because it's got a very different pace, it's got a very different energy, and the order just came about on its own. We started with Onir's film because it's basically about the father-son reconciling while they're grieving. So it's a quieter, tighter, very intimate film. And we ended with Sitara's film, which is very uplifting, very joyous, celebrating Sitara finding a sense of belonging through cricket. So it just kind of, once the stories were done, it followed its own graph and rhythm, and we fit all four of them.
Yes, no, well done on that. It's really well done. Tell me about finding the actors for each of the films because they're really very good.
Oh, thank you, Peter. The casting, we had a great casting director also, Daniela, and she did a great job. And with Onir's film, which is the first film, Nandini, in that we just have three principal characters. Onir loved Orca, so he cast Orca immediately. Then we met Jackson, and Jackson had such a beautiful, calm, warm energy. So he looked, he was, the moment he walked in, it was very obvious that he would be the partner. We were not able to cast the father for the longest time. And then we were having a festival, and Onir and me were at the festival here. And we saw a priest, and he had such a beautiful fatherly traditional face, which was Molida. And I just went up to him. I said, Molida, do you, by any chance, have you ever done any acting? And he said, yes, I have a theater group. I have this, I have that. And so it was just serendipitous, and he became the father. Similarly for Sitara, like I said, Sitara is playing her own self. She's actually not an actor. She's a cricket player, and she used to play cricket in Afghanistan. So it's her own life story that she's enacting. So Sitara, she went through a lot of acting workshops, and she ensured that she honed her style. So by the time we shot, she was ready. Similarly for Emma, we needed a deaf dancer who could also act. So and I was so happy because we had a really good casting session, and we had narrowed down three people, and all three of them were great. Then on Rima finally selected Raina, who was amazing, and she's a brilliant dancer. And then Nandini was very hard to cast because she was playing a newly married, timid Indian girl full of dreams who's just moved to Melbourne. So first we looked high and low all around Australia, and we have some brilliant girls who are all emerging actresses, but the accent was a bit anglicized. It didn't sound like that um, newly arrived Indian accent, which who's still trying to fit in Australia. So then we got Arushi, who's a very established actress in India, to come. And Arushi was so generous because she gave that time and she knew that it was part of an anthology and she became a part of the film. So, and then of course, all the other supporting cast. So it's been a very happy journey with the casting, and everyone just, I think everything fell in place.
Oh, well done on that. And it was great to see Cat Stewart also in that story of Jules. Yes.
Cat was so, watching Arushi and Cat was like magic. And Cat was just so awesome because she's such a senior actress and she's so revered. And I was like really hopeful. And when we reached out to her and her team read the script, then Cat came and met us and she was like, okay, I'll do it, in a heartbeat. And she came for the workshops. Then we kind of told her who the film was based on. And she went and ensured that she kind of spent some time observing. She got the body language just right, and she's so beautiful and glamorous, and she's and for then she had to strip down, wear that wig. So I think it was very confronting for her as well. But she was just such a champion, and the way she supported the cast and crew, because so many of them were emerging creatives who obviously it was their first shoot. They were a bit nervous, and she was just so wonderful, warm, and just one of the team sat with us, had a meal. So it was just a pleasure working with her.
Oh, she's great. And yes, no, it all works really well. I was really impressed and moved by the four stories. They were really interesting. Um, I assume the film will also be shown in India.
Yes, and Peter, we are so happy because we had these wonderful, joyous screenings in some of the leading film festivals in India. We started with Mami, which is the Mumbai, then Kolkata. We were in a 960-seater, which was sold out. People were sitting in the aisles. We had more than 1,000 people. They gave us a tram, which was called the My Melbourne tram, going around in Kolkata, which felt completely surreal and beautiful. And then we had a screening in Chennai. So seeing the wonderful response, PVR, which is their leading cinema chain, they have picked up for distribution. And the film is releasing on 14th March in India in 22 cities across 70 locations plus. And the thing is, which I was very surprised to hear, that this is the first Australian film since 2016 to release in India theatrically. So that's another win for such a small indie film like us.
Oh, that's excellent. And My Melbourne is screening, as you said, from March 6th. And is it screening across Australia?
Yes, with screening across Australia, we are just very grateful because all our exhibitory cinema partners have been very generous. We are screening at Cinema Nova, we are screening at Palace, we are screening at Dendy, we are screening at Hoyts, we are screening at Village, Events, and Reading Cinema. So we are screening wherever you are, somewhere close to you will be there. And all details are at mindblowingfilms.com with session times, and we'll keep updating. So it's I'm really hoping people go and watch and support this film.
Oh, absolutely. I certainly can recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and people should go and see it. There's some really good stories in there. And me too. While I've got you there, I must ask you about the Indian Film Festival that's coming up again, which is such an incredible, large festival of Indian cinema.
Yes, thank you, Peter. And you've always been such a great supporter of the festival. So thank you for that. I know that's our annual chat that I always look forward to. Yes, that's coming up in August, and we have gently and slowly started working for it. But right now, all our focus has been on My Melbourne and ensuring that it has the best possible release that we can give it with all our limited resources. So everybody's working really hard, and the team is working very hard. And Peter, it was so nice because we also have two songs by Ariana Saeed, who's a Afghani legendary singer. And that also just happened by chance. Kabir reached out to her, the director of Sitara, and she is like the Taylor Swift of Afghanistan. So to have her sing two of the songs has been amazing. And everybody is promoting the film on social media, of the cast, the crew, and a lot of support from the film industry in Bombay. So we are really excited and looking forward to the release. And hopefully, by the time August comes, we have many, many things to celebrate as well.
I'm sure you will. And what I love about also the Indian Film Festival is it's not just about Bollywood, it's about independent films and about films that would not ordinarily be seen in Australia, which is so important in a film festival.
Yes,
So well
yes.
done on that.
Thank you. And we also have films from South Asia. We have films from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, and of course, like you rightly said, Indian films, both Bollywood, the mainstream, but also the independent art house, various languages. Last year we had 21 languages. So this year we hope to have the same, if not more. So, and this year already we've got lots of films by female directors again, like last year, because I think we are getting so many great films made by female directors. So it's going to be another exciting year.
Excellent stuff. We've been speaking to Mitu Bhowmick Lange, who is the producer of My Melbourne in cinemas from March the 6th. Mitu, as always, a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Okay, all the best. Bye bye.
Thanks, Peter. Did you get everything? Was it all okay?
All fine. Thanks so much. Okay, bye
You, Peter. Bye.
bye.